Hi everyone. I just wanted to pop on and begin a new weekly routine of sharing with you what is new on the MimiYouYou show. Many of you know we launched just a few weeks ago, and the goal of the show is to share unbelievable stories from around the world that help us create more empathy. Now, the show is 100% anonymous, video off, which, by the way, goes against every podcast rule. Everyone I speak to says, but how can you launch a podcast anonymously without guest names and without the videos on? Well, that's what we're doing, and we're doing it for a really important reason. We're doing it because if you have names, faces, context to the stories, we see a huge amount of unconscious bias and judgment. And that is just natural for us human beings. We have so many millions of thoughts going through our brains at any given moment. You can't help but connect context to reality. So MimiYouYou is totally anonymous so that people have a platform to share their stories without any of that unconscious bias or judgment in place. The show has been going for about a month. I have been so proud of the response and all of your support, and so grateful to the guests that have come and shared their stories so far. I wanted to pop on here and share our two most recent episodes and just give you a glimpse of what's going on. Our most recent show is called Hours Between Life and Death, and it truly is a mind-blowing story. It's one woman's story as she watches the love of her life fall off a cliff. And the story unfolds, and I'm not doing it any justice, as she watches around 30 people go down the side of that mountain to rescue him and get him out of that ordeal and back off the mountain. Now, I won't ruin the story, because the whole point of these stories is for you to be able to follow through her lens and her world. But needless to say, it's incredibly inspiring. It's a story of tenacity, inspiration, human spirit, community, and also leadership. She talks a lot about leadership of the people that were there to rescue him. So do tune in. It's, as I said, a mind-blowing story. And I've had feedback already from people saying they've never heard anything like it. So thank you to that guest so much for sharing so openly. The guest herself wrote to me yesterday and said some of her close members, including her partner himself, heard the show this weekend and what an impact it had on them as a family. So unbelievable story. Just the episode before that is around one woman's journey to converting to Islam, and also just the most mind-opening story. This lady fell in love with a Muslim, and on her journey through love, discovered Islam, converted to Islam, has since been to Saudi Arabia to follow her journey, to bring up her children Muslim, and has the most beautiful tale of transformation and of purpose and spirit, of course, that she has discovered. And lots of conversation there around community, judgment, and the reality of moving into the Muslim faith when you didn't grow up there. So another really fascinating story, and builds on many of the other properties I've created in the last few years to help people understand the Muslim world more clearly, because there are so many misunderstandings and preconceptions amongst all the religions and communities out there in the world. And of course, empathy's role is to fill them. So I wanted to share those with you to encourage you to go and have a look and see what you think of the show. As I said, the goal is to spread empathy, to not just talk about it. I didn't want to create another podcast where we talk about why we need empathy. I do enough talking. This show is about the guest. It's about their story, and we already have guests from all around the world. We have another 7 shows recorded and coming up in the next couple of weeks. Again, just stories that you could not possibly imagine if you don't hear them firsthand. And the goal of this show is so that you can step into their world and use your imagination, because of course that's where empathy comes into the equation, using your imagination to step into the shoes of others. So I hope to see you there. Please do send me feedback. If you would like to appear on the show, if you have a story to share, or someone you know, again, it's 100% anonymous. The only person that will know your identity is me, unless you choose to share it. Some guests at the end do choose to say, no, I'd like the world to know who I am. And that's, of course, fine too. So please do let me know what you think. Please do get in touch. If you want to become a guest and join me on the show, My email is sayhello@miminicklin.com, or you can find us over on Instagram at MimiYouYou Show. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope to see you there.